So, hello. Hello. So, this is the channel where you guys will be exploring how to draw the flowers, botanical drawings. And with watercolors, it's very exciting now because summer is coming. And here in California, there are a lot of flowers, pretty much almost every day. I can see new flowers. Today we will be doing these beautiful pink and green flower called somewhat, and to and that's what it's gonna look like. We're gonna start with taking it. That's what it looks like at the beginning, and that's what it's looked like after I cut off some of the leaves that we don't need. So this is already the process of creation. So you find the leaves that you wanted to leave and the leaves that you want to avoid. And okay, let's get right to it. First of all, watercolor paper. It should be pretty thick, 100 to 20 pounds watercolor paper. And what's very important is we want to draw on the other side of that paper that doesn't have much texture. The one that with the texture we don't use. So we'll put it upside down on that smooth side. So then we will need a pencil like this because it gives us very thin line. And we need an eraser, maybe 3 brushes, and watercolors. I have very good watercolors, and you probably don't need that many colors yourself. It's just me being fancy. But if you can, try to get more colors. What I use is that water spray bottle because it's way easier to make your watercolors wet pretty quickly, just like this. And maybe even a palette too. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it right here. We're going to take our pencil and go straight to it. So we will get the composition right. We have to follow the steps. It's going to be way easier if we just follow those few steps. First step is composition. And so let's say we're not going to use our whole paper. We're going to draw a small flower. So maybe something like this will be our drawing. But this size, quite like a gift card size drawing. Okay, so then we need to think of proportions. We want to keep everything inside that frame, right? So we want to do the marks where we will stand inside. So this is going to be the top. This is going to be pretty much the same from the side. So first flower, let's just think what kind of shape it can remind you. It reminds me a rectangle. So we can kind of very quickly draw a rectangle. And the reason I hold a pencil like that because it's easier not to press the pencil too hard because it will be hard to erase it later. So let's just hold it that way, and somehow it's easier not to get into details that way because we're not working on details yet. So we have to draw the stem. Don't be too like crazy precise. Approximately, we're drawing the stem. It doesn't have to be something photo-like. We're not making a photo like hyper-realistic drawing. I mean, you could, it will take more time. So then we're gonna show the after the stem, let's show a little bit of the leaves. And how you can do that, let's say we want to draw these leaves. So you can draw first, start with the center line, and then see where it ends compared to the flower. Compared to the flower, it's very close to that right side. So approximately here we're gonna draw our first leaf. Then second leaf would go away from the painting, and same we start from the center line and we draw those two, and then the leaf behind is compared to the flower, it's a little bit lower. So we're always comparing it to that flower, to the stem, and we're gonna draw that center line again. And then another leaf goes that way. And then, so we draw all those leaves. Same way, starting from the center line and then going to the and do the other two lines. Now I think if you want to do all those leaves, maybe you draw them first and then you see that it doesn't need to be there. Some of the leaves are like too disturbing. Like I can see now that leaf here, I don't really need it. I'm probably gonna erase it. And then that leaf here I will leave. I like it. So we just want to fill in the space in the right way. We can make leaves shorter too or longer too, a little bit, because it's not about the making the exact copy, it's about making the painting look right. So we have to fill in the space so it's everywhere but not overwhelming. So like always we need to find that balance, like in everything, about balance. So it's already look overcrowded, so I would probably leave it right here. So then I'm gonna hold my pencil like this, and that's when I start doing details. For the details, let's start from the center, and it's probably gonna remind us somewhat of a circle, right? And then from that circle we would go and do center lines again of the petals. The center line of that petal, that petal, that petal here, and those two. Right? So after we did that, let's draw the sides of those petals. Left side and then right side. So, and then let's double check if if they're even, if they're the same on both sides. So same here, one side and then the other, but here our left side looks way smaller than the right side, so we have to, it's because of the perspective. Another leaf here, and another leaf, a leaf petal here. Somehow it's easier to draw when you exhale. Fine lines, smaller lines, it's easier to do them when you pretty much like in meditation, you exhale. All right, so it might look a little bit messy, but it's enough to understand what we're gonna do with watercolors. And then the stem, and then there is another little flower here, and another little one here. So for the other one, we're kind of building the structure. we're like architectures. So here it looks like that very long triangle, and then from triangle it goes again center line this way, center line that way, and that way, and also this way too. So what we can check is how petals go compare one to another. So the tips of those petals, try to draw the line from one to another, how they connect. Like if there would be a line going from one petal to another, what is going to be like? So let's draw that line and see if it looks the same, because it should be about should be like a circle. All right, so then from that center line again, doing one side and the other side, one side and the other. And here it's again the same, one side and another, and again one side and another. Okay, that's good enough to begin with, because we don't want to be too crazy detailed. At least that's the way I like it, with bells and drawing. This is enough. So then, of course, I forgot my water. Of course, we need water too. So then we're gonna choose the main light colors. So let's find the color for the flower itself. So what color is it going to be? And let's not take just pure color, the way the color you already have. Let's mix it with different reds. So I'm gonna start painting the flower, but it has a lot of different shades. So let's put them all on the palette, at least 3, maybe more than 3. So I took first light pink, then let's find dark pink and dark red, and then something in the middle. So this is going to be our dark red color, like this, and then something in the middle. I would actually go more towards blue, kind of purplish red. Like this. Maybe more red. So this is, and if we want to make colors lighter, just add more water. We don't have white here. So this is with watercolors, you don't really want to use white color ever. This is our 3 colors. I might add a little bit warm in here, warm red. So yes, I like this one. So then let's start from that light one, from light red. And the way we're gonna do that is, actually no, let's start with our dark red. So this is our darkest red, and let's look at the shadow. Somehow it's easier to draw when you do the shadow first. So and think of like in mosaic, just find the spots that are dark. We just have to fill in those spots. One spot, another spot, one after another. So in the center, I can see that darkness. And then, well, some of the lines you can already mark with that dark color. It would be almost our outline, because it's pretty good. Then we have very fine outline, and even you can show the center a little bit. It helps a lot, at least for our brain. So we can show the center of the petal, and then last here, and it's already gonna be way easier to keep painting, right? So, and then there is that one behind there, another flower. It's all dark. Let's put in the middle flower, middle color, something in the middle, and then the lightest color. Or actually we can do the lightest and then put the middle one in between. So the lightest should be almost paper white, very light pink color. Here and here we can already start blending them together, but not too much, very careful. Here again. All right, so and then we can start putting that medium red, something in the middle, that medium red in between. Right here. And be very careful not to blend one color into another color. So that's should be enough for now. We're gonna let it dry. We just got the main idea, right? So that's enough to begin with. Okay, and then we can do, there is another small one here, and another small one here. Okay, let's leave it for now. Let's go to the other flower. Again, we start with the same, maybe we'll change it a little bit, dark red. That's going to be inside. It's pretty dark. And then it goes, we can kind of outline it this way. And then it goes the other way. To here. Then here we're gonna again outline it. Not everywhere, just some spots we can outline. And let's go to show the center and go to another petal. Something like that. Okay, so then we're going to do some other flowers. So here's that one goes right in front of this flower. So I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna change it. So it would go down so it doesn't close another flower. and then there is another one here. So let's be a bit more open-minded and change it a bit. There is one here. I can come up with another flower, pretend it's there, and maybe another flower here too. Okay, so let's find that medium tone. And the reason I put the medium, middle red here, because it's transparent. I want to show that transparency. So it's not dark red, it's that transparent red. That goes in here. And then transforms here to the light red. Like this. All right, so this is it. And then let's go to the lightest, almost white, cadmium red. So let's put it here. One, another one here, two, and then few more very light spots. If it looks like we put it in the wrong spot, it's alright, because we have a napkin. We can wipe off the brush into the napkin, and with the dry brush I can see there is too much water here, so I'm going to collect that water with the brush, just like this. And then maybe add a little more red. So it's good for that first layer, just to begin with. Then let's take find that green color, same thing. Let's find those three greens. Let's begin with the lightest. It's very yellowish green, a lot of yellow in there. Every time we try to take another color, let's wash our brush. We don't want to get dirty here. So this is going to be the green for the lightest green. Then we would find something for the middle green. Let's just experiment. Okay, so I'm going to take some yellow. Add again some green. All right. And then add dark green. Very dark green. So for the dark one, we can use a little bit of blue. All the cool colors, all the shadow colors, usually tend to look very cool. So let's add some of that blue in it. So again, let's start from the darkest colors. Somehow it's easier for our brain. And do one leaf. Just with these leaves, it's actually pretty easy. So you do one side and leave the other side for another color. You do one side, maybe add more green in it. And then do another green. So they just kind of dancing one into another, those leaves. And we want to do it quick so it's easier to see what's going on, because if we do it slow we can get lost. So let's just try to do it pretty quick. And the easy way to see the steps is to think of point A and point B. So if this is my point A, I'm gonna find the point B. This is point A, this is point B. I'm gonna add maybe a little bit of blue in it, so it's not all the same. And then from point A, I go to point B. So I don't think, what am I doing somewhere in the middle? I just go from one point to another point. Okay, so then let's do 2 more leaves here. 1, 2, 3, and then switch to light green. Do some light green. So, and it's okay if they mix one into another. So maybe just not too much of mixing. And then let's do that second part of the leaf. All right, so I can see that one is almost completely yellowish. And again, here we can also change it. If we don't like the way it is, we can change it to something else. All right, so we are just making a lot of them. We have to be careful not to make too many, because then it's gonna be overwhelming. It's already started looking overwhelming. Okay, yeah, that's probably good enough. Then we can just add a little bit of that green somewhere just to make it look happy. All right, so what we're gonna do next is to take that orangey reddish color for the stem. So we take some brownish orange, and then mix it with that dark reddish color, and then we can go for that stem. Let's do that. So we just find something, the color that's sort of in the middle. And then we are going to do all of them, all the stems. So now we got to the point where we have the idea. It's all easy to see what we're working on, what we're working with. It's easy to see what we have, and that's what we will need to work on. So let's make it darker. It's too bright, and don't worry about the pencil marks, we will erase them later, but let's make them dark. It's too light, so with watercolors we're going to go from light to darker colors. So we'll get back to the flowers. Let's get back to that reddish dark color, to that dark red, and find the most dark red spots. So I can see there is one, and again we're just filling in those spots. There is one dark side here. There is one inside the flower, but I also can see some yellowish dots in there, so I can leave those dots. And there is one here. Oops. yeah, let's just keep looking for those spots. And it's totally fine that it's not exactly like it is on the original flower. Somewhat the same. All right, so another one here. And then talking of outlines, I would still, well, get to that middle orange, and with that middle orange, do some outlines more visible. Here and here. Some of those lines. And again, it's always good to exhale when we do that fine work, very fine work. Okay. And that should be good. And then we can just touch up the edge of the petal. So it's easy to do that edge. The way you do it is just you take the wet brush and try to touch up the edge of the petal. Okay, then let's get to that other flower. Same thing, dark red in the middle. Center is very dark. Little bit of outlining. This is almost there. Yeah, be careful not to overdo it. There should be the right balance of enough darkness. Shouldn't be too dark. So a little bit of shadow on each of those other little flowers. All right, and then let's go to the stem. Take that dark reddish brownish stem color, and let's see if, imagine that the light is going here, it's actually going to the right side, so here it should be on the other side, but it's okay. So let's all do that very fine line of the shadow on the left side of the stem. And here is a beautiful thing, but that is that it has little tiny bumps on the stem. It's very important to show them everywhere. A lot of little tiny bumps. Next to this. Now those little details are very important. Makes that flower special and unique compared to other flowers. Those little tiny details. Okay, so then let's think a little about the leaves. So they might look as a mess right now, right? So we want to bring some of the leaves forward and some of the leaves further away. So let's take, the way we do it is usually with outlines, and every dark colors look closer to us than the light colors. That's usually the way it works. So that first leaf actually is not that dark, but I'm going to make it dark so it looks very close to the viewer. And maybe not exactly repeating the shape of the leaf, but somewhat in the middle, and maybe with, actually it has very beautiful orangey brownish edges. So, and then doing edges. Let's do those edges. And then in the middle too. Okay, so then we're going to look at some other leaves. So let's again take that dark greenish color and do maybe very fine line here for the stem and inside of it too. Okay, like this. And then again the dark, everything gets darker towards the center of the leaf. So let's try to do that. We start with the fine line and then gets darker, darker, darker towards the center, towards the bottom of the leaf. Same here, very fine line, gets darker and darker and darker. Just like this. All right. Same for here. Well, pretty much for every leaf, it's the same theory. So it's already start looking more complicated. It's good. And here too. All right. Okay, so then for the minor stuff, because we're almost done here. For that minor stuff, it should be very fine work, very, very fine work with, again, dark colors. But it should be right in the right spot. So let's take that dark color and make it even darker. We're going back to flowers. Almost purplish dark. And think of the darker spots here. And I can see there is one here, that line. Well, one important thing, to make the thin line, we need to wipe off the tip of the brush so it's not too much water. So if it's too much water, it's really hard to make that line. Okay, one here, another here, right there in the center. And we don't want to make everything clear. It's good that something kind of blends in. it's good. And then maybe we want to add this. That's stuff I'm totally making up. It's not dark there, but it's gonna look good if I do make it dark. And then here, and here. Okay, so then with the dark red, we can also add a little bit, very little of very fine outlines. So there can be outline here, here, just very little. So it looks a little bit more complicated, but it's already too much. So let's just stop here. Okay, then when we go to the other flower, I would also just find a dark spot in here. Maybe a little bit here. Show that curve. And this is it for the flowers. That should be just enough. A little bit of dark here. And then let's just take some lighter, very light, almost transparent red, and do some of the inside lines. All right, just like that. Okay, so then for the stem, let's focus on that orangey brownish color, and just do some little spots on that stem. Just like this. That should be enough. And then for the leaves, same thing. Take something very dark green, somewhat very dark, and do just some parts. Let's say here, and again towards the center of the leaf. We're gonna make it all dark looking. Okay, and again that front leaf, let's put even more dark green on it, because we want it to look up front, so it is the darkest spot. And then a little bit of finer lines on, not all of them, but on some of the leaves, and that should be it. Maybe a little bit of the edges, so like here, and see how I hold the brush totally vertical. That's how they do calligraphy in China. They hold the brush in that vertical position, completely vertical. All right, so then after it's dry, we can erase those lines that we don't need, and and then what's important, you don't have to do that, but I think it's very beautiful because of the flower is so bright and white. It's good to give it a dark, very beautiful dark background. So I think here it would be a dark greenish, bluish background would look very good. So we just take that almost blue but a little bit green color, very dark. We take a lot of it, very rich bluish color. We can even add some black to it, but not too much, just a fraction. Let's add some black and see if we like it. Yes, I do like it. So what we're gonna do is very carefully start going right around the petal, but the trick is don't touch the petal. So we are going to leave a tiny, very tiny white line around the petal. So like this. This is my style. You don't have to do it. You can go all the way to the petal, but I think it looks beautiful if you leave a very like hair like white line. And this is how Schiele did his paintings, and I think that's a great idea. Maybe not everywhere, but some places. And that way the flower gonna pop out, because light on light doesn't look great, but light on dark or dark on light always look great. Think of a black and white photo. If you put it in a grayscale, it should look clean and clear. So if you want to make it look clear, it should be the opposite, rather light on dark or dark on light. So, and this is a very popular way of doing it. You could have seen it in many like you could have seen it in designs of bed clothing or any other designs of flowers. This is like in IKEA they actually use it a lot. So because it works. So it's a little bit more in between of decorative and realistic. This is just my style, and hopefully you can learn it and then come up with your own style. Then I would go a little bit towards purple. So we always have to feel if we're getting bored, if it's too boring color, let's just change it. If it's too boring, let's do something. You know, we want to be creative. And the way to be creative is always adjusting things. So maybe I would now go a little bit blue, but then I think I would move it towards the purple, towards the bottom. So I'm adding some purple to it. Too dark, so I have to mix it with water, making it lighter. So now it's very important step. Like I said, my style is more decorative, so I'm gonna change it a little bit. Now I don't really care much about the flower, I care about the final painting, because I can see it's a little bit too messy. So to make it less messy, let's take that blue color, the background color, and show some of the leaves, some of them. Uh, emphasize them. So that way they would come up front and would look different than other trees, leaves. We don't need to, and it would look different than other leaves. And we don't want to do that for all of them, but just for some of them, right? Some of them. So that's should be almost done. Maybe just a little bit of the dark background color between the petals. Every time we do something in between them, it looks lighter. Uh, if we would make those background colors going in between, it doesn't look as heavy. All right, so that should be it. So this is it, and so this is it. We can also edit it after it's dry, but that should be good enough. And we didn't even have to erase all those pencil lines, pencil marks. Here we go, and thank you for watching. Let me know thank you for watching. Let me know if you like my videos by liking the video. Thank you. Bye.